Good morning. I'm coming live from the Conway Lake House this morning, sitting out here having a cup of tea. I decided to go with tea instead of coffee this morning because I'm just a little crazy. So, sipping on some tea, watching the boats buzz by, and I had some thoughts as I was driving down here this yesterday, and I thought I'd kind of share with them a little bit of perspective. And I can really get geeked out on numbers, so this is going to be a numbers perspective. But I was thinking about the folks that join this business. Primarily, it's a lot of moms or young people who are right out of college or work in college. I'd say those are probably our two biggest demographics, and most of the people are joining because they want something to do part-time. They just want something to add to the side. Some people it's an add-on, some people it's just I need some part-time income. And most of those people by far are looking to make $300 to $500 a month, right? $300 to $500 makes a difference in their house. A car payment, a house, part of a house payment, groceries, whatever that might be. Something to get them through the month. I don't know. But $300 to $500 is very consistent. We've been doing this for over 8 years, and I'd say that is the magic sweet spot. So if you just pick 400 as your average number, like people join this business to make $400. Well, all right. So if you didn't do this, what else would you do to make $400? That's where my brain went. So I researched what part-time income was. So in the United States, the national average for part-time income is somewhere between $12 and $14 an hour. So let's just use 13. We're actually in the Kansas City area. So let's just use 13 as our national average. So we want to make $400 and the average wage is $13. That means that we gotta work 30 hours over a month to make that money. 30 hours, that's a lot, right? Divide that by 4, that's about 8 hours a week. So you gotta work 8 hours a week at a part-time gig, whether that means food service or retail. There's a lot of part-time gigs out there, right? But depending on what you do, maybe you want to be a secretary or something, I'm not sure. But any part-time gig, going to pay you roughly $13 an hour. You're going to work about 8 hours a week to make that money for $400 a month. And I thought, well, how would you do that? Would you work 1 day a week? Probably not. You'd probably be split in half where you'd work probably 2 days a week at 4 hours a day, serving food or working in retail, whatever it might be. And then I'll think, well, actually, no, it'd be more than that. So if I got to work 8 hours in a week, let's just pick a number and say I'm doing it twice a week. So I'm working 2 4-hour shifts. What's that feel like? Well, if you're anything like my wife, that consists of getting up and getting ready, and that's an hour adventure. It's not for everybody, right? But for most of you, I bet you that's an hour adventure. So your 4-hour shift just became a 5-hour shift. And I promise you, you've got to drive at least 15 minutes there and 15 minutes back. At least, right? At a minimum, there's an extra half an hour. So your 4-hour shift really is a 5.5-hour shift. And if my math is right in my head, for 4 hours, you're making basically $52 at $13 an hour. But really, your 4 hours is 5.5 hours, right? By the time you get ready and you've driven there and you've driven back, you've really invested 5.5 hours. So your $13 an hour just became like $9.40 something cents. I'm doing the math in my head, right? So you went through all that trouble to work 2 shifts to make $9.45 an hour. And you had to go somewhere, you had to do something, you had to get ready, you had to battle traffic, you had to find someone to take care of your kids if you have kids, or you could do all of that right from your phone, roll out of bed, sit, drink some tea, watch the boats buzz by, work on your phone for about an hour, and do that 1 time a week, dedicated time. Sorry, 1 time a day, dedicated time. Get my 8 hours a week in, and I invested the same amount of time, the same amount of energy, and I've made at least the same amount of money. I guarantee you, if those of you who work this business worked with intentionality for an hour a day where you're uninterrupted. You can't go to a retail job and sit there on your phone. You can't go to be a secretary, and sit there and scroll the internet. You can't go to food service and be a waitress and just be, not intentional about your work. So if you showed up in this world and you actually vested over an hour a day, because remember, I think I said it was 8 hours a week. We only have 7 days in a week. So if you actually vested more than an hour a day of intentional time, not scrolling through social media, but I mean working, you'd make way more than $400 a month. Isn't that interesting? Perspective on this business. I guarantee you, if you invested that hour a day in this business, you'd make more than $400. You wouldn't be having to get up and get ready. You wouldn't be traveling to a job, and you'd still accomplish the same part-time goals that on a national average, the numbers don't lie, say that we could do. Part-time gig, $13 an hour. Math it out. Vest the time here in your hand, working on your phone intentionally for yourself, not for someone else. That's a numeric perspective on this business.